Live from the City of Angels Sunday morning. You know what that means. Breaking box office. We've got records still being set by Inside Out 2, the best second weekend ever for an animated film directly from the Disney email here on Sunday. Thanks for joining us, MMT Live across the world, across the globe. Here we go. After 2 weekends, Inside Out 2 has grossed estimated $724.4 million. That's 355.2 domestic, 362.2 international. It's the highest grossing film of 2024 to date, just past Dune Part 2. It's still set to open in Japan. Let's talk about domestically where we are on this film. On the basis that $100 million is confirmed, it would become only 7 titles to cross $100 million in its second weekend. That includes the first Star Wars Force Awakens, Endgame, Infinity War, Black Panther, Jurassic World, and Avengers. Disney owning virtually all of those, sans Jurassic World, right? Inside Out 2, the 7th highest second weekend in history. That's for all films. That's ahead of Barbie's $93 million. So not just the best second weekend animated all time, it's beating Barbie. Remember, Barbie went past the billion mark. We know we're going there, guys. We're already at $724 million globally. This film's way past $1 billion, okay? Highest grossing movie of 2024. We just mentioned that after 10 days of release. Inside Out 2 is $1.3 million away from reaching Inside Out's cum gross domestically at 356. So it's already going to beat the original here in just tomorrow. It'll happen. Maybe even today if the actual comes in bigger. And internationally, 369.2 after just 2 weekends. Inside Out 2, already the third highest international release of 2024, about to pass Godzilla X Kong. New openers, Italy, second highest industry opening weekend all time. Brazil, second highest industry opening weekend of all time, behind only Endgame, highest grossing movie of 2024 after just 4 days in Brazil. Spain, highest animated opening weekend of all time. Highest opening weekend of 2024 to date. Second highest grossing movie of 2024 after just 5 days. France, highest Pixar opening weekend. Second highest Pixar opening weekend of all time. Walt Disney Animation also on that. WDAS, that threw me for a second. Belgium, highest Pixar opening weekend and second highest Pixar opening weekend of all time. China, opened number 1 non-local opening, has grossed 78% of the entire Inside Out total gross in 3 days. Guys, we are back. Because it's not just about Inside Out 2 this morning. It's about other films. Bad Boys, also Despicable Me 4 debuted, looking very strong early. We'll talk about that in a minute. We go directly to the company emails. We don't mess around. I don't have THR. I don't have The Wrap. I don't have Variety up, Deadline. No, we're just going straight to the actual Disney / Universal / Vertical emails that we have. And let's continue here one more time, reminding you, this is the largest animated opening of all time in the second weekend. That is so impressive, and it speaks to this film being beloved by audiences around the world. No question that this is absolute phenomenon, the likes of which we have not seen since Barbie, and we're seeing it now as it's beating Barbie in that second weekend by some $7 million. So this is becoming one of those films like we saw with Barbie, like we saw with Maverick, where people that maybe were like, I think I'm just going to wait for this to show up on Disney Plus, remember, 100-day window, and they're like, well, I don't want to wait 100 days. I also want to see it now because everyone else is talking about it. And once you get that FOMO locked into a film, you're talking about a very big number like we are. Again, Global Haul is at $724.4 million. Let's go to Bad Boys. And we go directly to Sony's email. Continues to hold strong at the domestic box office as it is at, let's see, domestically total 146.9, down just 44% this weekend. So that's the third weekend holding off that 50% drop. We saw a similar strong drop last weekend, and now we're looking at $18.7 million third weekend, and again, 146.9. The total on that's over 280 on the worldwide total. So that film is killing it. Let's go back to Kinds of Kindness, which went old school platform release here this weekend, which I like. I love to see the old school New York, LA platform release. And for me, this is a much better film than Poor Things. When this film drops next weekend, you're going to get in about 500 screens. This weekend, 5. Let's talk about the number, and then I'll discuss a little further about that. Look at this. Hold on. Let me pop it back. Get it right to the right thing. I lost it. Damn it, Weber. Well, anyhow, it's at $70,000 per location. That's $350,000 total on those 5 New York, LA theaters, going to 500. I like the film. You need to support this film. When I told you to stay the hell away from Poor Things because of how disturbing it is across so many levels and so pretentious, this film is so much more watchable. Even at 2 hours and 45 minutes, you got the 3 different stories. This is a much stronger Yorgos film. I can't wait for you to see it here coming up next weekend. Those of you who are not in the major markets. Let's also talk about Despicable Me 4. I do have that email. I'm ready to go on that. Record-breaking start in the first 4 markets for that film, only in Australia, Argentina, and let's see where else they went. New Zealand and Uruguay. But Australia is the number 1 biggest opening for the franchise ever. So that's looking good. Argentina, biggest opening of the franchise. So far, I mean, only 9.3 million, but it's 4 locations, 4 countries. Wait till we get this thing going globally. And you're asking me, because I know a lot of you are asking this question right now, can this film, Despicable Me 4, exist in the marketplace that has now Inside Out 2 still going strong and sucking all of that air out of the marketplace? We talk about it so often here on MMT, is when you have a film that is so large and the 500-pound proverbial gorilla shows up, such as Inside Out 2, what happens to you? The good news is we've got a little bit of space. This film opens up on the 4th, so we've got time for this film, Despicable Me 4, to kind of have a little bit of room to operate. This next weekend's going to be, this is the curious one for me, A Quiet Place day 1. How will that film perform? I don't know. I mean, it just feels like Paramount doesn't have that much faith in the film. I mean, I like the second one a lot. I like the second one better than the first. And I think this has an interesting concept. Sure, we've seen it a million times. A billion times we've seen this movie. But when you look at Lupita's in this, you look at just the tight runtime, I believe it's like 140. It's a perfect summertime popcorn movie. I'm looking forward to see how that does, and I want to see the film. But you look at the spacing here, I think Despicable Me 4 will be okay. Let's go to obviously we're seeing that early on. Top 10 films. We'll talk about the other films I did not get to here on this Sunday morning. Thanks for joining us. By the way, if you want to comment, I try to get to a few here on Breaking Box Office, but tonight on the big show, as many comments as possible, you need to go to the YouTube channel, Midnight Movie Talk. Find us there, and that's where you'll be able to input your thoughts into what's being discussed here on the show. Let's go to the top 10. Inside Out 2, number 1 again, down 35% at 355, 724 on the worldwide on that. So this film continues to fly up to $1 billion plus. Does it get above Barbie at 1.4? What was Barbie's final number? 1.4 something. And then Maverick was in the 1.4s. So once you push 1.5, then you're above those. Anything we're comparing, right? We're talking about a film we're comparing to 2 monster runaway smashes in Maverick and Barbie. So here we go. And I know Disney's had a bunch of bad PR, especially with that viral video going around by O'Keefe talking about how they don't hire white guys. Okay, I get that. We can talk about that tonight. I'm only talking about right now, box office. Okay, that's the thing we do better than any other channel, certainly than any of the anti-wokers. We're able to discuss the business aspect of this within Disney succeeding here with Inside Out 2 versus the video versus the woke stuff. That's what makes us better than the rest. It's not a contest. You guys know it. Bad Boys Ride or Die, minus 44, 146 on the domestic side of things, over 200 and I believe $80 million worldwide. Bike Riders, let's discuss that for a moment because that had a $10 million debut. $3,700 per screen. That's solid, for a drama, right? For a film that looks like you could watch that at home on a Netflix, on a Hulu, any kind of streaming service. that is a win for Focus. As you know, Searchlight had that film, and then it went back, and they took it off, and then Focus said, we'll take it. We'll put it in the summer versus the end of last year's when Searchlight was going to put it in. And you're looking at a $10 million debut. Here's what we need to do. We'll talk about this more tonight. With a film like Bike Riders, you've got to protect it with a window. You're talking about an Inside Out 2 with a 100-day window. These films that look like I can watch this at home, and Bike Riders, to be fair, having seen it in a theater, you can watch it at home. It's not going to make that big of a difference, if any, if you watch it in a theater. I always prefer a theater. I always recommend you see a movie in a theater. But Bike Riders is not essential. You don't need to see it in Dolby or IMAX. It's not even a particularly great-looking film. I think the direction is marginal, and I like Nichols. But here's the point. With a film like that, you need to protect it with a window. If you do not, then what's going to happen is that's a film, again, they'll just say, oh, wait, it's Bike Riders. I'll just watch it when it shows up on streaming on Hulu, because of course, or actually Peacock in this case, because it's Focus. But when you look at that, these films are more critical to have a window on than the big films, because the audiences know they can just wait and they get it at home, as we saw Universal, those 17-day windows, which is ridiculous, right? We got to stop that. And I'm not going to go into a rant this morning. I'm feeling good. I got a big day planned, going down to the beach today. Here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you that as the CEO of AMC, making $20+ million a year. Yes, I'm calling you out again, Adam Aaron. I'm not going to yell. It's too early in the morning for that out here in LA. I'm going to tell you, if I were getting paid $20+ million a year, I would be in the studio's grills tomorrow morning saying, you need to give me a window of minimum 45. I want 60. I'm going to start at 60 and I'll negotiate down to 45. And that's what I'm taking. And that's what you're going to give me, because you need us. We have the leverage now. That has to happen. Let's continue along in the top 10. Kingdom Planet of the Apes still in the top 5, 164 on the state side. I got to check the global on that, but obviously a big success again for Disney. Wait a minute. He's praising Disney. This can't be an anti-woke channel. You're right. It's not. We're an objective channel. If $106 million stateside alone. The Exorcism, a film I saw last night. I can't wait to talk about The Exorcism tonight. What a shit show. That film's bad. Not just sort of bad. There's so many things to discuss, particularly with the plot. What in the hell is happening in this film? Only $2.4 million, $1,000 per screen. So yes, that bomb. Now, listen here. This is why you get good reporting here, objective reporting. The next film at number 8 is Thelma. That opened at 2.2, so lower than Exorcism. But here's why Thelma is more encouraging. 1700, well, 1715 on the average. So 1,700 on the average versus 1,000. So granted, I'm not saying that's setting the world on fire. The average for Inside Out 2 this weekend was 22,000. So we're still talking about a very minimal number here in Thelma. I like Thelma. We'll talk about that tonight. I didn't discuss it. I saw it in that early screening on that Monday, the AMC Screen Unseen. We'll discuss it. But you listen. Again, for a film that's that small, that feels like I can watch it at home, for Thelma to be doing $2.2 million is a sign that we're getting better, but we got to put those windows on there, just like we talked about with Bike Riders. Watchers is now at 17.7 stateside, and Ghost right here, right now. What the hell is that? I looked it up and I saw it. I saw it on my AMC app and I go, what is this movie? There's always that random movie on the AMC app. Those of you who have AMC A-List, you got to get it. It's the best thing in the world. Literally $25 a month, and you get to see as many as 12 movies a month, 3 movies a week. You can't go wrong. In fact, I'll tell you, I went into a movie last night that I didn't like, and I got up and I went to the manager after about 10 minutes and I said, listen, I don't want to watch this. This isn't good. I want to go see The Exorcism, which was the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life. We'll discuss what film I walked out of and what film I should have walked out of tonight on MMT. I'm sorry, guys, no comments tonight. I got to get out the door. I'm leaving. I'm running down to the beach, but I will see you guys tonight for the big show. I'll get as many comments as possible in tonight. If you left me a super chat, I'll get to it tonight on MMT, the Sunday Evening Spectacular, live about 8:30, maybe even 9 tonight. I haven't decided, but I'll see you then. Peace out. Live from LA. See you next time.